Welcome to the Polished Educator. Today we're making yummy sausage and peppers. This is a recipe that I use for my preschoolers in my childcare centers. They really like it and I thought I would share it with you. Here we're adding a little butter to a hot skillet. Just moving it all around, getting it ready for our sausage. So you see there, that's 19 ounces, and if you're in the food program, this is something that you might want to look at. You see the chart here? This is what you think about when you are preparing your meals for your children in your child care center when you're on the CACFP. Now we're adding our sausage to the pan and we're going to brown them on each side really nicely to help to release some of those flavors for our sausage and peppers. So here I am flipping them over on all sides, and no, they are not cooked thoroughly because we are going to take them out of the pan. In a sec, you'll see taking them out of the pan, putting them to the side to reserve them while we cook our vegetables a little bit to brown them and prepare them for our sauce. So I must say right here, guys, I'm sorry I don't really measure a lot, but if I had to say how much vegetable oil I put in there, it would probably be about 2 tablespoons. And then I put another little pat of butter, and if I had to give an estimation on that, it's probably about a tablespoon or a tablespoon and a half. So here go our onions. We're going to saute them and get them nice and brown for our sauce. So we're going to cook them on all sides, stirring a few times. Then we're going to turn our fryer down a little bit. So look, and if you could smell it in here, you would say, ooh, that smells so good. I know this is going to be yummy. And when I do something like this, the kids always say, what are you cooking? Because they're able to smell it and they know something good is happening in the kitchen. Right here, I'm adding some flour to the pan. And again, I'm not really a measurer, but I would be willing to say I added probably about a tablespoon and a half. And in a sec, you'll see that I also had to add a little bit more because I want to make sure that we have enough to thicken our sauce. So right now, I am moving the vegetables around because we want to get that flour cooked. We don't want it to have a doughy taste. We want to brown it a little bit. It's not a roux. We're just using the flour to thicken our oil. Well, it'll thicken our sauce, but we're using the flour to brown. And then when we put our liquid in, it will help to thicken our sauce. I hope that makes sense. So here, I'm using some frozen vegetables, and this is my little hack because I do cook for so many children. Sometimes we got to make it a little easier. So we've added our frozen veggies and they are starting to cook. Now we're going to add our seasonings, and you can add whatever you want, but this is a recipe that works for me and my children in childcare. So I don't over season it because, as you know, sometimes picky eaters don't like to see a lot of herbs floating in their food. Believe it or not, they will check it out, and if it doesn't look like what they want it to look like, no matter how good it is, they will not touch it. So we're adding some marinara sauce. And this is pre-made. It was jarred and I just pour it in, and now we're going to incorporate that sauce and all of our veggies and simmer it down. So the sausage that we reserved on the side, we also are going to place into the pan to simmer for a while to make sure that everything gets cooked thoroughly and our flavors go throughout our sauce. Oh guys, and I forgot to mention my secret ingredient, which is a spaghetti sauce packet. This adds flavor without adding, like I was saying earlier, all of those distinctive herbs that the kids can see. Because this is a fine powder, it's really undetectable to them, but the taste gets kicked up a notch or two. Now we're putting our sausages back in, and like I mentioned before, they are not fully cooked, but now they will be because we're going to simmer them in that sauce. After simmering for about 20 to 30 minutes, everything is ready. So here you see the sausage, well cooked, well done, as well as our veggies. And this is the way I do it for my children in childcare. This is a small batch. I'm usually cooking for quite a few, so it's much bigger than this, but I thought I would share this smaller recipe so that you can see how to do it yourself.